Thanks for listening to this podcast of Trending with Timmery. If you haven't already subscribed, please catch us wherever you love to listen to your podcast, from the Relevant Radio app to Apple, YouTube, you name it, we are there. And if you listen on Apple Podcasts, please be sure to go and give us a 5-star review to help other people discover the podcast. Anything you share in terms of episodes, whether it's texting it to a friend, posting on social media, helps to build up the kingdom for God, to help confront the challenging issues we face as a culture, but with joy, with hope, and with an eternal perspective where our faith collides with everyday life, bringing eternal principles to help us live our life joyfully.
Relevant Radio is listener-supported radio.
Talk radio for Catholic life.
Welcome to our Fall Pledge Drive.
Join the family.
You're listening to Trending with Timmery here on Relevant Radio. Let's kick off this hour in prayer. We need this prayer, especially today, coming off of the election. Good news, bad news. My heart is absolutely broken for the news coming out of California, Michigan, and Vermont. With regard to abortion, we'll talk about that a little later on today. We're going to talk about how shocking it is that people have voted in favor of a deceptive abortion amendment. We'll dive into a little bit of the Tom Brady and Gisele rumors over more of the turmoil. We've been covering it for months, but a new plot twist has occurred having to do actually with politics. And I want to talk a little bit about that as we're coming off of this election, much just to be decided still. But especially with the pro-life movement that we're currently living in, I want to discuss what we need to do to be pro-life moving forward, especially with the radical abortion agenda that is being written into the state constitutions in California, Michigan, and Vermont. And I have some really great stories for you of inspiration when it comes to lives literally being changed and saved that I have seen firsthand through just one person at a time, sharing the truth of the gospel of life. That is, that we are meant to celebrate life and not destroy it, whether that's in a faith-filled or often in a secular way in our current culture, but faith is what inspires us to do what we do. Let's kick off this hour. Join me in praying for an end to abortion here in the United States and pray for our needs to be met during our pledge drive here at Relevant Radio. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. We'll pray that memorare together. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thy intercession was left unaided. Inspired with this confidence, I fly unto thee, O Virgin of Virgins, my mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. Amen. In the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Oh boy, I was very sorrowful this morning when I checked the internet and found out the news that California's Proposition 1, amending the state constitution in favor of abortion, as well as Michigan's Proposition 3 and Vermont's Proposition 5, all passed. And this is why it was so upsetting and shocking to me. And I really do say shocking because we should be shocked by this. People voted in favor of abortion. This is historic. It wasn't until the vote we had in Ireland just about 4 or 5 years ago where the people in Ireland voted to make abortion legal there in Ireland. Before that, there had never been a time in our history where people had voted in favor of abortion. It had always been courts, Supreme Court justices, politicians making decisions, not you and I voting individually. And so just as my heart was so sorrowed for the people of Ireland, especially a Catholic country, a few years ago when this happened, that was where my heart broke. I'm staying with my parents right now, and I was just thinking through all of this and heartbroken that this is where we're at, that people would vote for this, and brought absolutely to tears thinking about the reality of what's happening in abortion, how barbaric it is, that these amendments to the state constitution that passed, just look at Vermont. The vote was broken down to this: 77% to 22%. 77% of the people in the state of Vermont voted for an amendment to their state constitution allowing for late-term abortion, infanticide, no basic medical licensing being upheld. In some places such as Michigan and California, in these same exact types of propositions, they're not even required to have a physician, a medical doctor, perform the abortions. And what we're seeing is outrageous. California voted, 65% of Californians who voted said yes to these radical pro-abortion amendments to the state constitution, and 56% of the people in Michigan voted in favor of this amendment to the state constitution. I've been in California and Michigan over the last few weeks in the midst of this entire proposition battle, and it's really sad because the truth of the matter is that the campaigns, and again, having been there on the ground in California and Michigan in favor of these amendments to the state constitution for abortion, they were deceptive. People just said, it was basically this: do you believe in reproductive freedom, yes or no? And if you do, vote yes and protect it and enshrine it in our state constitution. It didn't break down what these laws, or sorry, not laws, but amendments to the state constitution actually are. And the truth of the matter is this: what people voted for and the outrageousness of what they voted for. Again, looking at Vermont, nearly 8 in 10 people voted in the state of Vermont in favor of this radical abortion amendment to their state constitution. I know, and I will tell you with certainty for a fact, that most of those people did not know what they were voting for and do not support what they voted for. These so-called reproductive acts, reproductive amendments, this isn't what they wanted, because this is what they got. They may not realize it, and I think a lot of people were shocked when the news came out today from CNN, from wherever it might be, saying that this is what you voted for. And all of a sudden, these pro-abortion campaigns are actually saying exactly what this vote means. So first of all, you and I as taxpayers, if you're in Michigan, Vermont, and California, will have to pay for abortion on demand, for free abortion for people of any age. That's right, for minors as well, and for people who are traveling from out of state. The truth of the matter is that most people actually agree if you don't want to pay for another person's abortion, you shouldn't have to. And that's something that both sides of the political party can actually, in terms of us voters, individual lay people, actually agree on, that you shouldn't have to pay for someone's abortion. The other thing that most of us agree with, and the polling is very clear on this, is that most people don't support late-term abortion. Most people don't support infanticide, the killing of a baby who has already been born. Most people want common sense restrictions on abortion, especially in the second and third trimester. Most people who are pro-abortion are only pro-abortion really within the first handful of weeks. And they don't want abortion on demand in the second and third trimester. That's the truth. And all of these things that people don't want are exactly what they're going to get in California, Michigan, and Vermont with this amendment to the state constitution. Not only that, in these 3 states, parental notification under the new constitutional amendments that were passed is no longer required. So a minor can actually go ahead and have an abortion without letting their parent know. A common sense restriction, for example, that was already in Michigan, California has never required parental notification. It's actually quite scandalous because the majority of states actually have at least parental notification, at least notifying the parent that an abortion is going to take place, let's say, within the next 24 to 48 hours. These are outrageous things being written into and enshrined in California, Michigan, and Vermont state constitution. We cannot be silent. I do believe that each of these constitutional amendments will be challenged in the courts, and this is just the beginning of the battle. There is hope and there is work to be done. We've seen Roe versus Wade overturned, which means the issue of abortion, the legality of it, the restrictions, the permissiveness, all of those decisions returned to the states. This is just the beginning of a post-Roe versus Wade nation. We need to get our hands dirty in terms of being willing to speak up and advocate on these important issues. And we also have to recognize that this is not just about abortion. When we talk about abortion, we're talking about children who are dying, women whose bodies are being damaged rendered infertile because of unhealthy abortion procedures, whose minds, their psychology, and their emotional states are being damaged by the aftermath of abortion. The future relationships they have with current or potential spouses, with current or potential children, they are being damaged by abortion. This is what real post-abortion reality is for women. It's also lost fatherhood for men. And we need to fight against it. But these constitutional amendments in Michigan, California, and Vermont that outrageously passed so sorrowfully, the language was also written so that children, my daughter, who's not even 2 years old, who can barely talk, loves her little bunny rabbit, and carries her blanket around, that the state actually believes that my child could determine on her own if she wanted to take cross-sex hormones, if she wanted to have bottom or top surgery to identify as something other than what she is, if when she's 10, 12, 13 years old, if she actually wants to be sterilized permanently and never have children. This is the reality of these constitutional amendments, and they have been outright lies to the people, and this is why the people have voted in favor of them. So while you might be tempted to lose hope or be discouraged by these votes, it's good. We should be sorrowful, but we shouldn't lose hope, because this is a matter of information, of education, of personal conversations, and you and I who do know the truth continuing to speak up, pray, and fast. Remember, Jesus Christ himself said some demons are only cast out with prayer and fasting, and this should be inspiration for all of us to go deeper in our faith along with our action. You're listening to Trending with Timmerie here on Relevant Radio. I'm coming back discussing what we need to do to be pro-life moving forward, and a plot twist in the splitting up of Tom Brady and supermodel Gisele. It actually has to do with politics, and I'd be interested to hear your take. I'll be right back here on Trending.
$1 a day helps us in a big way. Hi, everyone. This is Father Rocky of the Family Rosary Across America and the Relevant Radio CEO. Our numerous $1 a day donors, many of whom have made their gift perpetual, are the backbone of our Relevant Radio mission. Join the Relevant Radio family now at $1 a day, and we'll send you a very, very special gift. A Relevant Radio branded wood hand cross. These were made in a workshop in Bethlehem and were blessed during Drew Mariani's pilgrimage tour of the Holy Land a few weeks ago. The Relevant Radio branded hand cross is made of olive wood, and the corpus is made from pewter. A beautiful keepsake or gift for sure, and it's our gift to you for a donation of $1 a day. The hand cross is only available today, and only while supplies last, so don't miss out. Make your $1 a day pledge at relevantradio.com, the Relevant Radio app, or by calling 877-291-0123.
Hey, this is Cale Clark from The Cale Clark Show and the Faith Explained program, joining Timmerie for Trending once again during our Join the Family pledge drive. And folks, you just heard Father Rocky talk about it, these beautiful handmade crucifixes from the Holy Land. We have just over 100 of them left. You do not want to miss this. It's only for today. When you come in at that $1 a day level, 877-291-0123 is the number to call. Or go online, relevantradio.com, or through the app. We'll also send you, of course, this wonderful talk by Father Rocky on how to have a happy Catholic family. Don't miss out on that. That's only for online gifts, though. So, hey, the good thing about that is that you never have to worry about not getting through on the phones. It's easy just to tap the app. And if you want to support Timmerie, and she's always on the vanguard of defending the family, defending faith, defending marriage, which is at the heart of the family, then you want to join our family right now, 877-291-0123, Timmerie.
Okay, well, for us Americans, we really need that hope today beyond the elections. We need to know that hearts and minds can change, and these are the stories you and I hear every single day from the people who are listening to Relevant Radio. And incredible stories of people who have experienced massive addiction and have turned their lives around. I hear from actually a lot of men who are in prison who listen to Trending here on Relevant Radio and who are getting ready to come out of prison and are listening to these stories. Their hearts and minds are changing. They're inspired and they're ready to walk in a new direction. This is where here at Relevant Radio on Trending, on the Cale Clark Show, we are seeing faith-filled truth really intervening in the lives of people with sound faith that matches sound science and reason, but other places aren't bringing together the faith, the science, and the reason to help have informed information that allows people to actually live according to free will and live lives that thrive. And so I hope you'll support what we're doing here at Relevant Radio, because you know and you believe that hearts and minds can change, and we're making that happen together when you join the family and support us here at Relevant Radio.
I'd like to thank Angelina in Wilton, California. She's a new donor who's coming at that $1 a day level. Thank you so much. David in Minneapolis has given $600. He's a new donor, and he's given a gift online, so he's going to get that wonderful talk also by Father sent to his inbox. Michael in Clovis, California has come in at the $1 a day level. Thank you so much, Michael. St. Michael, hey, listen, we all are called to be saints, and if you want to become a saint in God's family, giving is a great way to get on that path. 877-291-0123, or go to relevantradio.com or the app. Don't forget, get your wonderful hand crucifix when you give at that $1 a day level. Join the family.
You're listening to Trending with Timmery, where you can discuss what matters most to you. Join the conversation. 888-914-9149.
I'm sure you've not been able to avoid the expected divorce of football player Tom Brady and supermodel Gisele. The rumors, the conversations, the candidness with which Tom Brady and Gisele have both shared various pieces of information about why their marriage is splitting up has, I think, left many of us heartbroken for their story, and also relating in many ways to some of the practicality of family needs, decisions about work and career and children and family life. But there's been a recent plot twist I think is relevant to the political turmoil we're experiencing with the election just having happened. Some results are in, others are not. And so I want to talk in a little bit about whether or not marriage works with different political and religious views, because a kind of a plot twist has occurred over the last week that Tom Brady and Gisele are splitting, yes, over much of the difficulty with the family and Tom continuing to work at the level which he has, but rumors have surfaced that part of it has to do with politics. And so the part of the conversation that people aren't talking about, I'll share a little bit with you in a bit, but if you have a thought on this, I am curious, do you think marriage works with different political and religious views? So if you have a thought, the number is 1-888-914-9149, or you can always share that thought on social media as well. I'll be interested to get your thoughts here. But before we go to that, what do we need to do moving forward to build up a culture of life, to help women choose life for their children, to help women choose maybe not even to get pregnant to begin with? In other words, a lot of people in our culture today say, I consented to sex, but I didn't consent to birth, or I didn't consent to pregnancy, or to being a mom. How do we change the culture we're living in? I'm in mourning today. I really had to prepare myself coming into tonight, because truly just tears have been flowing looking at the reality of what has happened in the last 24 hours with California, Michigan, and Vermont all passing constitutional amendments, propositions that will amend the Constitution to allow for abortion on demand, infanticide, late-term abortion, for cross-sex hormones for minors, for top and bottom surgery, for sterilization with no parental consent. We're talking about irreversible surgeries, life-ending and altering surgeries, procedures, and chemicals entering minors' bodies, that these are being allowed through these propositions. I really do believe most people don't know that that's what they voted for. I know that because I watched the campaigns, and the pro-abortion movement was very sly with what they did, and we can do better on our side, on the pro-life side. But it begs the question, what do we do from here? And I want to propose kind of a 3-point perspective for you to really consider of here's how we change the culture with regard to the issue of abortion. Number 1, we need to help those who have had abortions heal. Because as we know statistically, the majority of abortions that take place today are repeat abortions. In other words, a woman who's already had 1 or 2 abortions who's having another abortion. So we need to help people who've suffered the loss of a child through abortion. Help the woman who thinks that her only choice is abortion because she doesn't know otherwise. So if you or someone you know has suffered the loss of a child, the damage of motherhood, hopeafterabortion.com is an excellent resource to move forward, to heal, and to build up a culture of life. So I would really argue that's the number one thing that we need to start working on to help change this cultural tide, because the truth of the matter is, whether you're pro-life or pro-abortion, I think all of us know that abortion hurts women and that women deserve better. It's a slogan that's been very, very effective. It's part of the reason why we saw back in 2007 partial birth abortion was a type of an abortion procedure, a late-term abortion, that was considered illegal by the Supreme Court of the United States, even though some clinics are still performing them. And with late-term abortion access being really unfettered in California, Michigan, and Vermont, we will continue to see this occur, even though it's an illegal procedure. So we really need to kind of be educated and know that people need hope and help and healing after abortion. The later in the pregnancy that abortion occurs, the more damaging it is as well, because the more and more aware a woman is of that child, feeling the child, being able to think and name the child. I was just showing my husband, I picked up a couple of little outfits for my baby girl who's on the way due in December. And as much as I feel her moving, as much as, I talk to her and I see the ultrasounds, it's these little things such as buying an outfit that continues to make her presence more and more real. And so that bonding with that child as the days and months go by in a pregnancy makes it harder and harder for a woman to choose abortion, or it makes it harder for her to recover from her abortion because of how much she's had time to bond with her child. This is why pro-life laws are so important. We know that when abortion access is denied, when there are states that have fewer abortion clinics, when there are states that have less access to abortion, we know that women who are being turned away from having that abortion, even though they desired it, end up being happier the further away from the rejection to the abortion they get. So here they are, they're, people would argue, forced to carry their child to term, and in the end, they're glad they did, even if and when it was not easy, because they had to make do. It's like what all of us have to do in life. When you have a choice that you've made, something you're seeking out, and that's not possible, you adapt. And all the more so when we're talking about lives that are on the line, children that are literally meant to be carried and cared for and nourished by their mothers. And so this is why we want to continue to support pro-life law. So number one, what do we do to be pro-life and move forward, move past this horrific vote in California, Michigan, and Vermont? What do we do to save individual lives? Number one, post-abortion healing. Hopeafterabortion.com for you or someone you know. Save that in your phone. Have it ready to pass along to someone else. And hey, everyone's on social media today. You don't have to say what you think about abortion. You just have to say, hey, if you've had an abortion, here's a resource for hope and healing afterward. Hopeafterabortion.com. Number two is we need to support pro-life laws. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about two other ways you can build up a culture of life, how to be pro-life moving forward, to change and save one life at a time, to help one woman at a time. These are really important things, and we will talk more about them coming up here on Trending. It's so important that we're ready to talk about these issues and be willing to have these difficult conversations. We live in a culture where we're told to be silent, to be tolerant of everyone's opinion. I don't believe in tolerance. I believe in truth, and we need to stop buying the lie and the deception of so-called tolerance. Tolerance is not something we hear preached in the gospel. What we hear is mercy, love, truth, and light.
Hey, this is Cale Clark from The Cale Clark Show and The Faith Explained on Relevant Radio, coming to you with Timmery for this hour of trending. Hey, I want to let you know, as we continue on with our pledge drive, Join the Family is our theme. We have a major milestone coming up. We need $19,000 to hit our next major milestone. We hope that you will help to get us there, and you can do so. Especially if you come in at that $1 a day level today. We're going to send you some wonderful gifts as a token of our gratitude. And they will really help you in your family prayer and your personal prayer and to share the gospel wherever you go. First of all, we've got this beautiful handmade crucifix from olive wood. It's from the Holy Land. A Christian family has made them just for Relevant Radio family members. If you come in at that $1 a day level, we will give this to you. 877-291-0123 is the number to call. It was taken with Drew Mariani on his trip to the Holy Land. Taken to many, many holy sites and blessed before it was brought home, and we want to send that to you. If you come in at that $1 a day level, don't forget, you will also get this wonderful doorpost blessing, and it's an image of the Holy Family along with the grandparents of Jesus. You can put it at the entranceway to your home, maybe even in your office. Evangelize your workplace. Imagine that. You can do so many things with this, and this is gorgeous as well. It's a work of art that I've never seen anything like this, and you can get that as well. If you give online, Father will send you his wonderful talk on how to have a happy Catholic family. So if you want to support Timmery and the work that she's doing here on Trending, you're going to want to call this number right now, 877-291-0123, or go online to the app or the website, relevantradio.com, Timmery.
Marie in Fallbrook, California is a new supporter of Relevant Radio. She just gave $20. Can you give $20 today? I know it's something all of us can do, even when we think we can't. Go ahead, do it. Make a little change. Maybe you don't go out to eat this week. Maybe you try to drive your car a little bit less this week. I know gas prices are going up, but we can be a little more economical to make these donations happen. So whatever you can give, please support us here at Relevant Radio. And in the face of everything that's happening, the massive blow in California, Vermont, and Michigan, we need to re-educate ourselves and prepare ourselves to have a strategy for how to be pro-life in this post-Roe America, how to be pro-life with our friends and family and change and save one heart and mind at a time. And that's what we're talking about here on Relevant Radio. So I really hope you'll support the work we're doing, because I am hearing these incredible stories, and I'm going to share them with you, of one baby's life being saved at a time and one woman at a time being saved from the horror of abortion.
877-291-0123 is the number to call to support Timmery and this wonderful work she's doing on Trending. Or you can go online, relevantradio.com, or on the app. Join the family today.
Powered by you.
Listener supported.
Welcome back to our Join the Family Fall Pledge Drive on Relevant Radio.
Welcome to our Fall Pledge Drive here at Relevant Radio. Timmery here during Trending with Timmery. We need $18,000 in the next 28 minutes. Whatever you can give to support the work we're doing here at Relevant Radio, thank you so much. Brenda, San Diego, California, just donated $365. Thank you, along with Joanne, anonymous individual in Cincinnati, Ohio, as well as Joanna in Bellflower, California. New Jersey, Robert just gave $36. Hey, can you give $36? Is that all you can give today? Maybe you weren't planning on giving. Please, whatever you can give. It could be $5, it could be $10. Maybe it's $10,000. We will gladly accept whatever gift you can give to support the work we're doing here at Relevant Radio. Okay, so we're talking about what we need to do to be pro-life moving forward. And I have this 4-point strategy that I really hope you'll take to heart and implement in your own life. It's very simple, and these are 4 simple ways for you to be pro-life. Number 1, help to get healing to those who've had abortions. We know that women who have had abortions will often have a second and third abortion. So hopeafterabortion.com is a resource. You don't even have to share your position on abortion. All you need to do is post on social media. Have this website saved on your phone, hopeafterabortion.com. Maybe even, send a group text to some lady friends who you know who are also pro-life and say, hey, make sure you have this resource available to those who may need it. Maybe even post on social media, hopeafterabortion.com. We're posting a link on social media. You can even just reshare my tweet as well. Second thing I said is we need to support pro-life laws and pro-life candidates, because we know when access to abortion decreases, that means fewer women have abortion because they've been denied an abortion. And the truth of the matter is, there's an incredible study that came out. It was a 10-year-long study. It was a pro-abortion study. And what came out of the study was that women who were turned away from getting an abortion because of laws and restrictions in their area, they were happier the further away from the abortion they got, or the attempted abortion, because they chose life. Even if it was a choice slightly, not completely their own, they were forced to carry that baby to term in a certain respect. Now, I hate using the word forced or not having a choice. There really should be no choice to kill your child to begin with. But here's the deal. When we don't have the option to do something that's wrong or bad for ourselves or others, we have to adapt and make a better choice. And these are the good choices people are making when we have pro-life laws. So number 1, help get post-abortion healing to other people. Number 2, support your pro-life candidates and pro-life laws and opportunities that you can pass in your state. And lots of them are on the horizon for us to support. Number 3, we know that over 54% of all abortions taking place today are through RU486 chemical abortions. That number is significantly on the rise. I believe it's much higher than that since we saw Roe versus Wade overturned. And I also believe it's higher than that because we know that the majority of abortions aren't being reported in states such as California that has the highest abortion statistics. So we need to get information to women who are turning to a chemical abortion thinking that this is the only way they have out. A lot of women, after they start that chemical RU486 abortion process, also known as mifepristone and misoprostol, they change their minds. And if they've only taken that first pill, there's actually an intervention that can occur through trained physicians across the nation, actually worldwide, through abortionpillreversal.com. That's abortionpillreversal.com. And through abortionpillreversal.com, they can get in contact with a physician and stop the process of the abortion that's occurring. And let me tell you, I've worked directly with the program for Abortion Pill Reversal since its beginning, and I've seen lives changed and saved. I remembered when this program first started to be implemented, and we knew there were, about a couple hundred babies that were saved from Abortion Pill Reversal protocol. Well, not a single one of them had any birth defects. And people are trying to say, oh, well, you can try this. It might work, but your baby will be deformed. No, never. Thousands of babies have been saved. Women have received hope in the midst of a moment where, out of despair, they sought an abortion and changed their mind, and boom, their baby's life was saved through this network of physicians. So abortionpillreversal.com, another thing to post on social media. The fourth thing you can do today to be pro-life moving forward is to make sure that your community knows about the hope and healing available to them, all of the help available through pregnancy resource centers in our local communities that will literally help. A woman needs a car and that's why she's thinking about having an abortion. Sure, we'll help you get a car. You need help paying rent this month and that's why you're considering having an abortion? Sure, we'll pay your rent for the next 3 months. You need counseling because you're addicted to drugs or you're in an abusive relationship. Sure, we'll help you get that help you need. We'll come alongside you through the whole pregnancy, and we will come alongside you after that baby is born. How do I know this? Because I have worked in crisis pregnancy centers for years. I worked for about 5 years as a director of education and outreach for a crisis pregnancy center in San Diego, along with other crisis pregnancy centers. And these were the stories. Women who literally didn't have rent that month and they thought, how could I continue to have a baby? I remember one of my friends who works in the crisis pregnancy center, she runs one. She told me just a couple months ago, she bought 3 cars that weekend for women who were abortion minded. Because that was for them what was getting in the way of them having a baby and killing a baby. A car. It's as simple as that. We live in a culture that is so self-centered that because abortion has been so normalized, we think it's okay to trade the life of a child for a car. And so we need to help provide resources such as the hope and help that's available for free through our pregnancy resource center. So please know where your center is. Help make sure that there's information about it at your local youth group, at your local high school, at your local middle school. Remember, the youngest girl I ever saw come into our pregnancy resource center that I was working at in San Diego was a 13-year-old. She just barely turned 13 and she was pregnant. My heart absolutely broke for her but she needed the support that the incredible counselors at our Pregnancy Resource Center were able to provide. Hope, guidance, maternal loving interaction when she had no mom in her life. These are the things that our crisis pregnancy centers do. So find your local crisis pregnancy center. Help them with marketing. Help them with social media. Help to get the word out about the great work they are doing. You're listening to Trending with Timmerie here on Relevant Radio. Thank you so much if you supported us during our pledge drive here. We need $16,000 in the next 20 minutes. I believe we can do it. Hey, if 16 people donate $1,000 right now, we will be done. We can all go home. No, actually not till Friday, but we need 3 million in total. So 16,000 will help get us that much closer to our need in order to do the work we're doing here on Relevant Radio to change and save hearts and minds. So please donate now, relevantradio.com. I want to get your thoughts on this. We've been talking a lot about football player Tom Brady and supermodel Gisele and their whole marriage and everything that's going on. But there was a plot twist that entered into the conversation this past week. And I want to throw this out there. I'd love to hear from you on social media to continue this conversation because I really am curious what your thoughts are. So the plot twist is this. We know that their marriage is falling apart after, Tom's decision to retire from the NFL and then go back in and then to be a news correspondent. Even he knows that, not being present for Christmas after Christmas and birthday after birthday has taken a toll on his family. But the plot twist is this. Rumors came out last week that one of the reasons why Gisele is leaving Tom is due to turmoil over politics. It's been no secret that Tom Brady has a reputation as more of a political conservative, and Gisele is rather liberal. Tom Brady has more of a perspective that has been friendly toward President Donald Trump, and he's even been friendly, apparently, according to the gossip, on texting terms with Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida. There are whispers that one day Tom would like to get involved in Florida politics, and this was just too much for Gisele. Without getting too much into the political side of it, I'm really curious, and I want to talk about this more tomorrow on Trending, but I want to hear your thoughts based on your experience, based on who you would or wouldn't date. Does marriage work with different political and religious views? I think it's an important question, whether you're in a marriage now or whether you're discerning marriage or advising someone who is. I think we need to take a little more seriously differing political and religious views, because the truth of the matter is that these are a big deal, and as we're seeing in the culture, perhaps more relevant than ever before. In a culture that is, I would argue, rather intolerant while trying to preach tolerance, we, in the Catholic Church, looking to the marital vows that we make within the context of marriage, are called to fidelity in the midst of anything that might happen. And so we need to be able to kind of have these candid conversations about things that might get in the way of us actually sticking to the Catholic Church's teaching of fidelity and permanence in marriage. I especially bring that up because Tom Brady and Gisele are both married in the Catholic Church, and so all of this is just absolutely devastating. They might be able to go through with a civil divorce, but they're still married in the eyes of the church unless they were to receive an annulment for some reason. So again, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but please tweet me, write me a message on Instagram. I will read them before tomorrow's show. Just follow me at Timmerie, Timmerie, and let me know your thoughts. Does marriage work with different political and religious views? Why or why not? What has your experience been? Why wouldn't you perhaps date someone with different political or religious views? Coming up is a miracle moment, and then I'm going to share with you some incredible stories about babies' lives being saved because of voices who have been willing to speak up and actually help end abortion in one person's life. I'll be right back here on Trending.
Changing lives in your neighborhood and across the nation. Here's another Relevant Radio miracle moment.
My father died on December 11th, 2021, and he was on his deathbed, and he at 3 p.m., and the priest came in and did the Divine Mercy Chaplet along with the Litany of Saints, and he passed away peacefully. And after that, for the next month or longer, he gave us many, many beautiful signs that he was in heaven with Jesus. he was a hard man,
Yeah.
and I became a total believer. I listen to you every day with the chaplet.
Thank you.
And if I can't hear the live radio, I listen to the prayers. I do the rosary every night. I'm a total changed person because of that prayer and what it
Thank
did
you.
to my dad.
Touch a heart and change a soul by making a donation to Relevant Radio today.
Hey, this is Kale alongside Timmery for this hour of trending. There's not many more minutes left in this hour. Just a few more chances for you to get in and get this beautiful handmade crucifix from the Holy Land. 877-291-0123 is how you can do it. You can call right now and make your $1-a-day donation to make it happen. We want to get this into your hands. We only have a few left. Hey, they're gone after today. This is your last chance to do it. Your last chance to support Timmery. Hey, Timmery, I guess it might be DeSantis and Brady in 2024. I don't know. Have you ever considered running for office?
No way. I could not do all the politics.
Hey, we do talk about it. We do talk about it, but we need to pray for these people in high office as the Bible commands us to. And you know what? One thing you can do, there's so many things that are out of our control. Voting is so important, and I hope all of you had the chance to vote yesterday and exercise your civic duty. You can make your vote for Relevant Radio right now. If you want to join the family, if you are appreciative of this programming, if you know how much it impacts lives, we know that it does. We have stats to back it up. 877-291-0123. It's your chance to vote for Timmery. You want to keep her program on the air. You want to make sure that this is a mainstay on Relevant Radio for years to come. This is how you do it. 877-291-0123 or go to relevantradio.com or the Relevant Radio app. When you give online, we'll send you an extra special bonus. It's a Pledge Drive Premium. It's a special talk by Father Rocky on how to have a happy Catholic family. And we also want you, don't forget, to get one of those few remaining handmade crucifixes of olive wood and pewter from the Holy Land that Drew Mariani brought back with him from Israel just a few weeks ago. Want to give them to you. 877-291-0123. Come in at that $1-a-day level, Timmery.
That's right, $1 a day to support us here at Relevant Radio, or maybe it's $20 a day. Or Eileen just gave $1,000 in San Diego. Thank you, Eileen. We need $12,000, and we have 13 minutes. So if we have 12 people donate $1,000 in the next 10 minutes, that will help us to reach our goal of, again, needing $12,000. And maybe you can give more than that, or maybe you can give $20. I know, I go places, I go to these fundraisers, I want to support the mission, but I don't have that much. Rather than not giving it all, I give what I can. And don't be embarrassed for what it is, because God knows a cheerful giver. So please support us here at Relevant Radio, relevantradio.com or the Relevant Radio app.
Absolutely. Want to thank Abel in Hacienda Heights, California. Not Kane, but Abel. And he was able to give $1 a day. We really appreciate you, Abel. You can do the same. 877-291-0123 or go to relevantradio.com or the app right now and join the family today.
You're listening to Trending with Timmery, where you can discuss what matters most to you. Join the conversation. 888-914-9149.
Ooh, is it getting hot in here, or is it just me? I don't know. All these donations are making me excited, but I also think it's the pregnancy hot flashes. I was just talking to my producer. I always laugh when I say, like, jokingly or seriously, that I'm having a hot flash, because majority of the time, I would say about 90% of the men start twitching and running. Anything to do with women's hormones or anything, that get scared. But props to my producer. He just laughs at me as I complain about my pregnancy hot flashes. But when we talk about pregnancy, I want to talk about some pretty incredible stories I have had the opportunity to witness. And these are the stories that change hearts and minds. And let's talk a little about them, because I've had the opportunity to be involved in the pro-life movement since I was a child. My mom was a great inspiration, brought me alongside her. I was homeschooled. Yes, I was that geek, whatever you want to call me. But it really allowed me a firsthand experience of changing and saving lives. And I remember one of the first times I ever sidewalk counseled was when I was about 13 years old. And truly, through a hope and a prayer, nothing on my part meriting, but literally praying, come Holy Spirit, help me, because I don't know what the heck I'm saying a lot of the time. But I remember one of my first encounters in sidewalk counseling a woman in Los Angeles. It was just days before Christmas. I was about 13, 14 years old, and this woman was going to have an abortion. We were on about the 10th floor of a big high-rise building in Los Angeles, and there was a little abortion clinic. And I remember the name of the clinic. I don't know if it's still open. It was called the Butterfly Clinic, of all things. And I had gone inside the abortion clinic and was talking to the woman in there. And as I'm talking to her, she and her husband are sharing with me that she's been really sick, that she's been throwing up in the morning and has been nauseated and has been unable to keep a lot of food down. And I remember talking to her and saying, sounds like you have morning sickness. Do you know what morning sickness is? And she said, what are you talking about? For some reason, I don't know how, she didn't know what morning sickness was. And she thought that something was terribly wrong with her. I always joke because my mom, I'm sure she knew there was such a thing as morning sickness, but when she was pregnant with me, I was her first kid, and she actually thought that she had a tumor when she went to the doctor. She's like, something's wrong with me. You've got to figure this out. You've got to get rid of it. And lo and behold, she was pregnant with Timmery, not a tumor. And I bring this story up because this woman and her husband, the only reason they were seeking out that abortion was because he wanted his wife to be healthy, and he didn't know that it was normal to be sick during pregnancy. And that piece of information was all they needed to leave. And I remember sitting there because all of a sudden the abortion clinic workers realized that I was there and talking to their clients, and I remember begging the man and woman, come outside with me, I'll talk to you outside. Because at this point, I've been asked to leave the abortion clinic, and they're sending up the security guards. I'm like, okay, I'll leave them. Say, please just come outside and talk to us. And eventually they did, but they left. They left the abortion clinic that day because I said, there's a crisis pregnancy center right around the corner. They'll help give you more information about nutrition and caring for yourself during pregnancy, even help with some free medical work to make sure everything's going okay, that you, mom, are healthy and that baby's okay, so that you can make informed decisions and really have what you need. That is all it took for this woman and her husband to choose life, knowing that there was such a thing as morning sickness. And do you think that the pro-abortion movement's going to tell women that when they come in saying that they're feeling sick in the morning and want to get rid of their baby? No. That's how simple saving and changing lives can be. But we have to be willing to enter into those conversations, to be candid about, hey, I feel like absolute crap during this pregnancy. This pregnancy has been very challenging for me. My second one, I've shared that both my first and second pregnancy have had to have a lot of progesterone support to prevent miscarriage in the first half and then preterm labor in the second. For a couple weeks, I was having really significant preterm labor, was on a very kind of low-functioning lifestyle for a last couple of weeks, and just being candid about it. It's not easy sometimes. It's also not easy when you don't feel good, and I'm 7 months pregnant, having a hard time eating anything for days at a time. This is just sometimes the reality of life that we don't always share with each other. I keep thinking of more stories of people whose lives I have seen change. I remember one woman who came into the crisis pregnancy center about 9 years ago when I was working there, and she was pregnant with her second child, and she just found out the little boy had Down syndrome and had a heart problem most likely. She knew that she couldn't take care of that baby given her life circumstances and finances, and so we came alongside her, supporting her, loving her, and she ended up choosing adoption for her baby. Was able to place her baby for adoption and was able to thrive and be so joy-filled knowing that this baby was able to receive the additional maternal and paternal care with his adoptive parents, as well as the love of she herself who chose not to abort him. These are the real-life instances with just a little hope, a little love, a little bit of information, sometimes some free medical services. Babies are saved and moms are preserved in the gift of their motherhood, even the gift of the most challenging circumstances.
Hey there, this is Cale Clark from The Cale Clark Show and the Faith Explained program, coming at you just for these last few minutes of the hour. Now is the time. Now is your chance to join the family. We only have a couple of minutes. We want you to come in at that $1 a day level. If you can give at least $365 for the year, less than the price of a cup of coffee per day. As Timmy talked about earlier, making sacrifices is what we do in families. We make sacrifices for one another. If you want to make that sacrifice, that $1 a day sacrifice to help to keep us on the air and keep broadcasting Christ to the world through the media, this is the number to call, 877-291-0123. And of course, you can also go online and give at the Relevant Radio website, relevantradio.com, or through the app. There are some special premiums today, just for today. When you come in at that $1 a day level, we want to send you a doorpost blessing. It's a Holy Family image that's unique. I've never seen anything like this. Not only does it include Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, but also the grandparents of Jesus, the parents of the Blessed Virgin Saints Anne and Joachim. And it's just amazing how they come around Jesus and that image of family, warmth, togetherness, and love. It's made of bronze, stone-cast alabaster, and every one of these frames has a blessing scroll too. It's in a little embedded tube, and it's in the back. And at the top of the image, it says, "Love God with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself." It's of course a teaching of our Lord, and we learn that best. And really, most of us learn it for the first time in the family, in the heart of the home. So if you want to help your family pray and remind your family of what it's all about, Christ at the center, call 877-291-0123, and that's only one of the two gifts that you'll get if you call that number and give. We'll also give you, of course, the incredible olive wood cross crucifix, the hand crucifix from the Holy Land, made by a family just outside of Bethlehem, just for us here at Relevant Radio. It's got the Relevant Radio family logo on the back as well. We want to give that to you. If you come in at this $1 a day level, there's only a few left, so please call right now. Don't delay. If you give online, there's a third gift. It's a $1 a day triple play. We'll also send you a beautiful talk by Father Rocky about how to have a happy, healthy, and holy Catholic home. So, Timmery, this is just an amazing day for us here at Relevant Radio. Some amazing gifts that are only available today if you join the family.
Cale, I keep thinking about how we're all about building up the family and building up, because of that, the next generation. And I received a really sweet message from Luca. He's a college freshman in the state of California, and he listens to Trending. He's 18 years old, and he said,
Wow.
I wouldn't know half the things I know now or be as curious or question things without Trending. And he said, I really love the Gentleman's Hour, by the way, on Wednesdays. And I was so appreciative of this because it was encouraging to me to know that there are 18-year-old boys who are passionate about their faith, and they're looking for answers and truth, and they're being encouraged to question the status quo of our culture, their peers, the media, politics, and to seek out truth and embrace it with joy. And so I was so happy to hear from Luca and hear a little bit of his story, because these are the people that we are reaching through our growing network, over 200 stations here on Relevant Radio, our digital network, through social media. We are helping to change and save hearts and minds and build up the next generation, so that the next election we're going to have even more hope with the young people who will be voting soon here.
Absolutely. We're so grateful for that, Luca. So glad that you're listening. And really, this is why it's so important for us to be on the air, to give this option for people. Where else are you going to learn how to integrate your Catholic faith with everyday life, how to vote in accord with not only your conscience, but with the teaching of the Church, how to make a difference in your communities and in your families. We want you to join our family right now by calling 877-291-0123. Of course, you can also give easily, effectively, and securely online through the Relevant Radio app and relevantradio.com. Tom in Modesto, California, has come in at that $1 a day level. Thank you so much, Tom. Is it Tom Brady? No. It's Tom from Modesto. I know you know more about Tom Brady than me, Timry. I am surprised. And we want to thank an anonymous donor in Palo Alto, California, the home of Apple, is taking a bite out of the apple here, giving a second gift this week, coming in at $1 a day. We'll send you that beautiful hand crucifix as well. Stay tuned for the Family Rosary Across America with Father Rocky. But before that, call quickly, 877-291-0123. Join the family, relevantradio.com and the app.